everybody. Let's see here. Can you wait? Let me pin myself. Oh, I pinned myself with the den. Oh my God, Trisha. That is. I'm your background. That is the funniest thing in the entire world. Thank you for that. That is the most ridiculous. Oh my God. I mean, that is worth every effort you put into creating that. Namaste. Welcome. Oh, it's going to be a good one. Welcome, everybody. We have let me see here if I can you guys see me as the main thing? Like, am I coming up on your screen? Okay. I'm pinned here with the den. Let me see if I can, oh, here, remove pin. Oh, there we go. That's too funny. Oh my God, I love it. Let's see, gallery view. Marissa and Trisha and Karen and Kate and Tina, Jacqueline, Marjan. Hi, everybody. Valerie made it. I haven't seen you in so long. My Aunt Cindy's here. Hi, everybody. We have a great group that signed up. I know there's probably going to be a bunch of y'all watching the recording, so thank you for those of you that were able to play live tonight. This is going to be fun. I recently, if you guys are wondering, like, why is my face behind Trisha? I recently filmed a commercial for Samsung in Mexico. I used to be an actress before I did healing work, and now I'm bridging the two, which is fun. So that's me right there. So if you need a little giggle, that's hilarious. All right, beautiful souls. It's so good to be here. I'm glad that there is a community where we can come together to, I'm using this word weird, because I know a lot of people consider these things not normal, far out there. And I've had this specialty gift kind of thing, I guess you could call it. Why am I not pinned again? Hold on, guys, 1 second. Here we go. Okay. Of really normalizing the esoteric. Like, I don't think it's weird. I think it's cool. I work with this every week. And so my hope for you is, if you have any bit of that in your system where you're like, how am I supposed to, maybe you want to just do this for home life, maybe you want to do it professionally. If you have any bit of that in your system, it's my intention to assist you in just clearing that, clearing the shame, clearing the fear, and really being loud and proud with our spiritual gifts. So I invite you again, if anybody wants to show your face, I really like that because it feels like we're in circle. And if not, I totally understand. Okay, say hi in the chat. Let me know you're here. I only see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of you at a time, so it's nice for me. We've got Hobbs here. Let's see if I can show you him. That's my guy. He literally always joins trainings. He was actually sitting in this seat, and I had to move him over because I was like, we can't do it this way. It would be super weird. So today, what the heck are we doing? This is in the short time we have together, an introduction to animal communication. How do we telepathically communicate with our pets, with animals around us? Tell me in the chat if you're new to me. I think most of you know me, but my name's Jamie Wozny. If you are new to me, hello. I've been doing this work for lifetimes. It's literally in my astrology chart. I was like, well, when I saw that, I'm like, it all makes sense. Mediumship, all this stuff, it's literally in my chart. So you're learning from somebody who is an ancient animal communicator. I am a polymath, which means I have great knowledge in many things, hence the commercial picture in an animal communication class. So if you are a soul that loves to explore lots of different esoteric arts and creative arts, you're in good company with me. I've been doing healing work, intuitive work, spiritual guidance, teaching meditation professionally for 11 years now in this lifetime. Animal communication, which is also known as animal telepathy or animal psychic, as some people say, came to me So I first studied as a Reiki master. This is a great little story as an intro here. Hi, Miss Marjan. It's in the middle of the night for you, isn't it? My goodness, my love. Um, and Emily, welcome. Trying to say hi to everybody. Sorry if I missed somebody. So I was in my Reiki master training. I was in the 4th year. I had a partner who was in Texas. Any Texas people in the house? And this was from a distance. And we had our practice session. Forgive me if you've heard this story. I'll try to keep it brief, but I love me a story. And she called me and was like, I don't need help with myself today. I need help with my bird. And I was like, you're absolutely insane. I cannot help you with your bird. I mean, I didn't say that, but I was like, I don't know how to help you. I'm sorry. Thank goodness. It's funny how the divine always has plans for us, because she was adamant. She was like, I don't know why. I feel like you can help my bird. So I said, fine, what's wrong with your bird? And she said, and put it in the chat if you've heard this story. So she said, I normally have the cage doors for my bird open, and his name's Henry. I don't know if he's still living because this was a long time ago, but she said, I normally keep the cage doors open. He flies free. And for 6 months, Henry has been in the cage with the doors open and isn't flying out. And I'm worried about him and I don't know what to do. So I thought, well, I'll do with him what I do with humans. So I energetically, so this will be the first teaching here we have tonight. We are all one, right? We are all one in a quantum field of life. We're all energy. Our energy field goes outside of our body. So psychically, with our intention, because this is how I explain this. Excuse me, Hobbs, I need to grab this blanket. Okay, so this is the we are all oneness, okay? We're all one, okay? This is Henry, this is Jamie, this is Kate, this is Trisha, this is Hobbs, right? We're all kind of, it's great. If you're a spiritual teacher, this is such a great teaching tool. So all I'm doing is part of that oneness, excuse me, I'm tuning in to Henry, intentionally going, okay, let me quiet my mind and just intend I'm connecting into this bird in Texas with my energy, asking if he would like to communicate back to me. So I started getting images. I saw purple, which your third eye, when you see, is purple. But it was different. It was like an image of something that was purple. And I said to her, what is purple? Purple's coming in very strong. And she said, oh, his cage, and literally everything in it is purple. It's like, okay, I guess I'm not making this up. Cool. And then I kept seeing, he would show me in my mind's eye white instead of purple. And I said, I don't know why. I think that color is too dark for Henry. He prefers it white. Then I heard the word poop. And I saw poop on top of food. And then I felt anger in my body. So this is how our telepathic senses work. It's like little bits and pieces, which I'll teach you, okay? If you want to learn. So I see this, and then I said to her, what's the deal with the poop on top of the food? And she said, oh, my boyfriend built the cage. He's a little bit lazy. The poop and the food are next to each other. And I said, well, he's pissed and needs you to make the cage white and put the food and his poop area in completely separate places. And she's like, okay, writing down notes. So I'm relaying to Henry, hey, your mom hears you. She's going to make these adjustments. And then there was some depression in the home energy. Henry was picking up on it. And so we did some energy clearing, and I told him, by the way, this is a side note. This is something I learned a long time ago. You can tell your pet, you're the bird, you're the cat, you're the dog. So this sentence, you're the dog, you can be a dog. You're the bird, you can be a bird. You're the cat, just be the cat. Because they will try to assist us in clearing energy, processing energy, helping us, right? So I said to Henry, hey, it's okay for you to just be the bird, release this. Anyway, I get off the call and I was like, what was that? And but there was a knowing too inside that was like, okay, I saw things. That was pretty accurate. 6 months this bird was in this cage with the doors open and didn't fly out. She sends me a selfie about 60 seconds later of Henry sitting next to her on the couch. He flew out of the cage. And I get the little click in my phone, and I was like, whoa. So from then on, I thought, I'm going to study this. I'm actually going to learn. I learned from Lydia Hibby, who's, if I don't know if anybody knows her, a world-renowned animal communicator, which for me was really cool because it was a lot of just confirmation that like, oh, this is really normal. We're all really intuitive and psychic. Some of us just aren't trained in that art, and we don't realize we're picking up on things all the time, and we don't know how to quiet our mind enough to actually tune in and receive information. Okay. And we'll get into all of that too. Anyway, that's how I got into this, Mr. Henry. And I continue to have, I wonder if Emily's on the call. I don't think she's here. I think she signed up, but isn't here live. So I just had a client, it was last week or 2 weeks ago, who her dog was only a year and a half and was on life support. And she called me because she was like, I don't think my dog is supposed to die, but I don't know. And maybe I'm holding on to this animal and I shouldn't. And I get how tough this work is, you guys, because I'm like, look, we have these children and we love them. I will call them children, family, right? But I knew, I said, no, he doesn't want to go yet. And I kept seeing, which it was, the dog had something stuck in its stomach, and I kept seeing liquid B vitamins in my mind. And I'm thinking, what the hell? Like, why am I seeing liquid B vitamins? Oh my gosh, well, maybe you can come in and share this. And then Emily sends me a message a few days later. The dog's fine. The dog's healing. He's home. And she goes to a holistic doctor who puts him on liquid B vitamins. Right? So it's those things where you do this for, I think it's been 9 years now where I've been doing the animal communication officially. And you just over time start to trust that vehicle within you that's like, oh, I know when I feel that way, or I see that thing psychically or telepathically, I can trust that. And that's something that takes time and practice. Okay. And we'll go into that too. That's actually something I want to talk to you guys about. Oh, different Emily. Okay. Sorry, different Emily. Perfect. Well, anyway, that the other Emily, we saw liquid B vitamins, and it's what the doctor put the dog on to bring it back to life, which is really interesting. Okay. So I'm not going to read the workshop highlights because you guys saw that in the breakdown. Okay, so what we're going to do tonight in our short time is just, I want to teach you guys a couple of things, and then maybe we'll even have time to do a little reading if somebody's animal's around, or if you have a picture of a past animal. And then at the end, I'm going to give you an invitation, if you're in person in LA, to study with me, or if you're online to study with me. Okay, so I'll save the last 5 minutes for that if you're like, whoa, this is really cool. Okay. What does it mean to talk to animals is the first part. So they're not actually communicating in like the English language or French, whatever it may be. They're picking up on our energy. We're psychically communicating, we're telepathically communicating. We can call it our sixth sense. So it's beyond the physical. So it comes usually as a variety of things, a knowing. And if you're new to this, you might want to write these down, but a knowing, images, feelings, or sounds or words. And there's a new, more like modern day animal communication vehicle, which is like clear sensing, they say, because you just like, you sense something, you pick up on something. Okay. So whenever I'm doing sessions with clients, I say, hey, like, I'm going to say all of this. Like, I'm going to talk to Hobbs and say, hey, how are you feeling? So that the human can hear what I'm saying on the other end. But what I'm relaying to Hobbs at the same time is an image, is a feeling, is a sense. So I'm speaking to him. We call them, we may have time to go into this exercise tonight, we'll see, but we call them our clairs, which are our psychic senses, right? This is how we speak to humans all the time. We're speaking psychically to each other all the time, telepathically to each other. And we do it with nature and we do it with animals constantly. This is super weird, but you see the plant on our table back there? So we brought that plant home. That plant's maybe like 4 years old, 3 years old. I'm bad with time. I was sitting with that plant and I'm like, I like to name my plants. And I was like, or well, ask them what their name is. And I'm sitting there and I was like, what's this guy's name? And I heard in my mind that his name was Frank. And I said to my boyfriend, who isn't even as well versed in all this stuff, like he's super open minded. He likes Michael Singer, but he's, not like psychically speaking to plants like I am and animals. And so I said, I hadn't said anything out loud. I'm like, what's your name? And I hear Frank. Ryan looks at the plant and he goes, Frank. And I was like, we both got the same name for that guy over there. So to me, I'm like, wow, like we are energetically and telepathically picking up on stuff all the time, but it is just Marjan, Frank. Yeah, you heard that story. And it's again not normalized. So oh man, these are all the old witch wounds from the old days, but like you're not crazy. You are not crazy if you're hearing voices, if you're seeing things, if you're sensing things. And you're safe here to explore that with me. Okay, so let me pause a second. Questions on what it means to talk to animals or to communicate with animals. I can go deeper into that. So you can pop any questions you have for me in the chat. Otherwise, I'll move on to the next point. I'll give you guys a second. Okay. And if something comes up, pop it in there. I'm going to be paying attention to be able to connect with you. Erin, how did you do that cool cat as your picture? That's really neat. Okay. Yeah, this is so, we'll go deeper into this in the training, but diverse modes of communication. So these are ways that we actually communicate through images, inner knowing, hearing, feeling, sensing, and hunches. And well, this was, yeah. So the next bullet point is overcoming hesitation. Like when you're learning and you're doing this work with animals, with people, with plants you bring home from the store. What I hear the most with my students in energy healing things, whatever it is that I'm doing, is this this fear of being wrong. This fear of being wrong. And this is multi-layered, but the confidence comes in being imperfect and messing up 1,000 times. When I first started this exploration process, I would call friends and I would say, or animals, but friends at first, and would say, I'm going to close my eyes and just see what images or knowing deeper than your brain, pop into my mind when I'm just intending to tune into your energy. Okay, I intend to connect you. That's what we do with the animals. So when you're practicing, I just intend to connect into your energy. We always ask permission. Is it okay to connect into your energy? Yes. That's how I start every session. Is it okay? I intend to connect to your energy. And then I would just start saying, oh, this is what I'm seeing. This is what I'm feeling. This is what I'm sensing. And then have the person say back to me, oh, that makes sense because this. Oh, I have no idea what that thing means. And it's so uncomfortable, you guys. I know that feeling when you choose your truth. When you say, I'm going to learn to communicate with beings, with animals, with plants, with people on a deeper level than my brain. Okay, whew, all the fear comes up, all the judgment comes up, all the shame comes up. That's the purification process. That's okay, right? So the courage to say, this might be wrong, this might be weird, and let's practice. And doing it over and over and over again. And those of you on this call that have learned from me before, you can even put this in the chat if you want, like how that process is for you to share with other people. But that's how you gain confidence, is doing it over and over and over again, and having someone call you and say, hey, that B vitamin that you told me about when my dog was hanging on for its life was what the doctor recommended. You know? Okay. Cool. So I'm going to do a short exercise with you guys for fun. If you've been in my Reiki training or my animal communication training, you've done this before. But try it over again, because for me, I'd done this a gazillion times. And I didn't realize how much my clear knowing was so strong, and I didn't realize it. And when I did this exercise the like umpteenth time, I was like, oh shit, I'm super psychic. And it just kept getting deeper and deeper. So if you've done this, I invite you to try it again. Oh, it's your business logo in honor of my late cat cupcake. Oh my goodness. That's sweet. That's beautiful, Erin. Cool. Okay. So these are called your clairs, which I just briefly went over. So you've got, and you can write these down. And Jake, I don't know if you're there helping at all, but if you could pop these in the chat for people, that would be super awesome. If not, I can type them in the chat too. So we've got clairsentient, which is clear feeling, which is I feel what, like how I had that experience where I tuned into Henry and I felt anger all of a sudden. That's clairsentience. Oh, thanks, Val. Maybe we'll do a reading on one of your babes. Clairsentient. Oh, thanks, love. Okay, then we have clairaudient, which was when I heard Henry say poop. So clairaudient is clear hearing. Clairvoyant, which you guys have probably heard of before, is clear seeing. So that's, you're somebody who sees signs, images, you have vivid dreams, you close your eyes and you get this little quick sketch photo in your mind. Oh, of course, Trisha was helping out too. So I'm going to share the clairs, and I was just wondering if you could pop them in the chat. We've got clairsentient, clear feeling. We've got clairaudient, clear hearing, tongue twisters. We've got claircognizant, clear seeing. And then we've got clairvoyant is clear seeing, and claircognizant is clear knowing. And if you need me to repeat those, I will. Okay, so this is, you'll learn a lot today in this. If you want to go further with me and learn a little bit more, it's funny, animals are this beautiful gateway, but this exercise is so valuable just in your navigation of your own life, right? It's like, oh, I'm learning how to connect with them, but it's also how I connect with people. And it's also how I connect with myself and navigate between me and divinity for the rest of my life, which is super cool. Okay. So when you watch TV, I was going to say Netflix, but there's so much out now. When you watch shows, you go to the movies, when you come back from the movie, what do you remember the most? Okay. How it made you feel, the visuals, the beautiful people, the oh wow, I love that outfit, that scenery. Do you remember the voices of the actors? Do you go home and Google the soundtrack? So think about that for a second. You can write this down if you want. Okay. And also, you guys, some of us usually have one that's really strong, which we'll find out at the end, and then we've got them, you know, listed strength underneath. Some of you might have four that are really strong. So it's kind of nice to be like, oh, when I watch a movie, this is the one I remember the most. Then this. Then like I may or may not Google the soundtrack, you know, like so that might be third or fourth. So you can put a little order as we do these exercises, okay? I'm putting these in the chat for you guys. Clear hearing. Oop. Claire, what are we missing? Buoyant. Sorry, these are spelled, these might be spelled wrong. Clear seeing, okay. Oh, sending these straight to the den. Everyone in meeting. There we go, guys. Okay. In life, how do you speak to yourself in your head and how do you speak to other people? Okay. Do you use words such as, I feel you, or, oh, I feel that, I feel? Okay. Do you say, oh, I see, I see, I see, or I see that? Oh, are you looking up? Oh, I see that. Do you say, I hear you, I hear you? Or do you say, I know, I know, I know, I know? Give you a second to write those down. What do you say or think? Mm. Jake, thank you. That looks way better. Appreciate that. That also looks like a complicated puzzle. Yes, and the ones we aren't going over today, which people do have as well, you can smell things and you can taste things psychically, right? If a past loved one is around, you might. One time I was filming a commercial in this really old house and I was like, oh my God, those cookies smell so good. And people were like, the kitchen is not in working order. Ain't nobody baking cookies. I was like, oh, somebody's baking cookies who is invisible. Okay. Vacation. This is the last part of the exercise. Well, almost. When you're on vacation or staycation or you're just out for the day doing a thing, okay? What do you remember about, I'll call it the trip, but what do you remember about the trip? The way it made you feel, the scenery, the images. Do you remember the sounds, the birds, the people talking in the city? Clear knowing doesn't fit for a lot of these exercises, so bear with that one. Take a minute to think about that and jot that down. And Megan and Jesse, I see you joined us, and Ying. Good to have everybody here. All right, and if I'm going too fast and you need repeating, let me know, okay? Now I want you just to think about times in your life you've made big decisions, like coming onto this call. How did you know you were supposed to be here? Or, the ones I always say, when you adopt or you buy your animal, like that's something where that's usually a pretty intuitive thing. You're like, I just knew that was the guy. I knew that was the girl. I saw it. I dreamed about it. Oh, I had the feeling in my gut. My body felt it. I felt it. Right? I heard that was you'll hear all this hippie lingo. Oh, I heard that was my dog. I heard that was my cat. So which way, like me moving to Los Angeles, I knew, I don't know how, I had a knowing. When you got married, got divorced, moved, adopted, had children, didn't have children, whatever it is, what were you accessing? What were you accessing beyond your mind? Feeling for sure. So claircognizant, yep. Jesse, we're glad you made it, Queen. So I'll give you a minute to jot that down. Oh, cool, voyance. So now what I want you to do, if you've been taking notes or just think about this, if it's in your head, based on these these four little experiments of how do I speak about it, vacation, movies, and how have I made big decisions in my life, okay? Let's number them. What you believe, like, oh, whoa, this one was in most of these exercises. Number from 1 to 4. What you think your strongest one to your least strongest. And they might be like, I don't know. I was gonna say one A, 1B, because like those are like the same, but just so you can categorize how you want to categorize it. And then no rush, but let me know in the chat when a couple of you are finished. And again, no rush. When you're finished, I would love to know in the chat what you perceive your number one clair is, your number one language to find out the name of your plants. Knowing, feeling, visual, hearing, knowing. Got a lot of knowers on this call. Knowing, so I find that knowers are like the most physic people, and they don't know they are. They are, because it comes from a knowing, and when most of us in today's society aren't taught you can know something and it's okay to know it, and that also means you're correct. So when you, even that, you guys have in your awareness, oh, I'm a knower, and I know that I know that I know, and I'm seeing it across the board, and there's others that are knowers, it amplifies. Then you start trusting your knowing more, you see it more, you hear it more. Okay. Knowing. Wow, knowing. Woo! Emily, break in the cycle. Visual. Boo. No, I'm just kidding. Ying, feeling. Ying's with you, Emily. We'll put you in your own breakout room. No, I'm just kidding. Erin, knowing. Marissa, clairvoyance. All right, we got some different ones here. Seeing. Yeah, awesome. What's the difference between feeling versus emotional feeling? The wires can get easily crossed. It's the same thing. So you are feeling the emotion in your body, which is why, and I'll teach you this, it's really important to kind of have your own baseline before you go into a reading if you're a strong feeler. To just say, I release, and I teach this in Reiki too, but Reiki as well. I release any energy that isn't mine, just intending to clear anything that isn't mine, be in my own energy. So we just do that clearing prayer first, so that when we do feel stuff, we realize, oh, interesting, this is coming from the animal, right? And then I teach you also how to open up your energy and close your energy as well before and after sessions, so that you're not walking around all day tuned into different radio stations. You do it just by choice because you can. Cool. Okay, anybody, usually I never have people who can at least have a sense of maybe what their strongest one is. Anybody have trouble with that and need assistance, you can pop it in the chat. Usually you guys, once we look at our lives, we're like, whoa. So why is this important to know? As an animal communicator, as a healer, as a psychic, right? As a human who's tapping into their power, if you walk around your whole life speaking Spanish and everybody else is speaking to you in French, and there's just this like disconnect, and you're like, why can't I connect with these people? This is a completely different language. When you become so deeply aware of like, oh, I speak Spanish. Oh, I speak French. Oh, I speak Portuguese. We can shine a light of our awareness on feelings in our body, on knowings, on, oh, and this is how I am now, because clairaudient is probably my least strongest, but the other three, I just kind of constantly, it's a party, right? It's like, I feel this, I hear this, I see this. So if we know that as well, we can trust that we're not going crazy, that it's like, oh, it's just going to pop in like this, or pop in like this, or pop in like this. And so I invite you, whether you join me or not, for our in-person animal communication training we're doing next month in Los Angeles, California. This is something to just notice when you're around your pet. Let me just be in their energy. Or if you have, I know a bunch of you on here have recently actually lost an animal. Your animal's in the fifth dimension. Set the intention. Intention is powerful. We're all connected. We're that blanket. So I intend to connect into, you can say your pet's name. And then now you know the language you speak and the way that you can hear them. I open up to my knowing to hear you. I open up to my hearing to hear you. I open up to my sense of smell or my sense of taste to connect with you. We just need, that's huge. We need to know our language and the way we receive information, and it changes everything. Yeah. Okay. So what I want to do is pause for a moment, and you can unmute yourself or you can pop in the chat questions about anything that I've said, anything you're curious about with animal communication, before we move on to the next part. I'll just give you guys a moment. All questions are welcome.
Jamie, this is
Yes.
Valerie. With both my dogs, but particularly my dog Tessa, the tan and white one, she's Australian Shepherd and Border Collie. I mean, This sounds crazy, but we are so on the same page, the same personality, the same everything. I mean, it's hysterical. And it's like I can never be mad at her, even when she can frustrate me, because her tenacity is incredible. It's just crazy. It's like I could be in another room, I can be far away, and I can just sense what it is she needs or wants
Mhm.
effortlessly. It's really crazy
Do you guys
to
see
be
how
so strong.
Valerie just used the word in her sentence? She said, I can sense. She didn't say I can hear. She didn't say I can see. She said I can sense. So that's how, again, listen as people talk. Anyway, continue. Teaching moment.
Yeah, and with my other dog right now, Onyx, the funniest thing is too is he's so much more my husband's personality, really. But his throat recently, we gave them these new balls, which they both loved, and they were a little bit fuzzy. And at first they played with them, but they didn't bother them. But they started licking them. And Onyx in particularly, all of a sudden it's like he has this like irritation in his throat. So we took the balls away immediately. This they maybe had him for a week, 10 days,
Mhm.
and all of a sudden notice this raspiness in his throat, and he keeps trying to clear his throat. And I just feel like, okay, this isn't going away, it's time to go get it checked out. Like, could there be little fibers in his throat that have irritated it, that type of thing. And granted, he's making a sound also, like trying to clear his throat, but I know
Mhm.
it's easy to brush those things off, but it's like, no, there's that knowing again that it you need to get this looked at. And if it's nothing, I pray that it's nothing, you know, but
Yeah.
um, it's just
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
100%. And sometimes our knowing, it's interesting with healing work because sometimes we're like, oh, if we communicate, we don't have to go to the doctor or something, like there's this in the healing world, there's a lot of that. Sometimes maybe there's a clearing that's done and like Henry flies out and he's fine. But sometimes your knowing guides you to be complex or guides you to go, hey, let's just check. Maybe there's something that could um, soothe the throat, you know?
Yeah.
Um, Yeah, yeah. Willow bark for humans. I'm
Yes.
curious if it's dog friendly. Just Google if that's
Mm.
dog friendly. That's just
I know
coming into
slippery elm too is
slippery
also
elm.
used
That's
for
what
throat agitation.
slippery elm. That's what I'm trying to think. Slippery elm.
Okay,
Slippery elm. Yeah. Willow
great.
bark. What the heck is willow bark? Look up that
Willow bark,
too.
I think is like aspirin. Is the original what aspirin is made from willow bark.
I was picturing slippery elm, but that's interesting. I said willow bark because I have no idea what that is. So just yeah, Google those and see like okay, because that's what I say a lot when I get hunches. I'll say, which is true, which is why we can not be afraid to be wrong. I'm not a doctor,
Yeah.
but this is what I'm picking up on. Check it out. But I think that's
Hmm.
really, yeah, that's really smart. And what you were saying too. This work is so profound because, and I know a couple of you, I think she's still on the call, Trisha, and like a few of you have had readings with me where it's not only because we're so connected, a simple thing like be complex, it's an entire energetic. Oh, I know Kate had this experience as well. Like it's an entire energetic, like, why is this? Not that it's your fault, not that it's anything to be guilty about, but it's an entire energetic experience that can serve you in up leveling.
Mm.
Um, which like Hobbs and I just had a recent thing like that. He had something going on with his ears. And your own pet's the hardest to read, by the way. Um, So sometimes I'll have someone else come in and I'm thinking, why don't I just do a reading for him? And it was all about not having enough joy in his life. And that was what I was going through was, can we move to allowing even more joy into your life, Jamie, unapologetically, not feeling guilty that you're too happy or this, fear of shining, fear of being and living in my
Sure.
best life. Um, and I wrote the whole thing down, jotted it down, and then like a week after his reading, because it was all about joy, him wanting to go do more fun things because there was stagnation in his blood and he needed to move his body more. And then it was the same themes that kept coming up with my healers, and I was like, "Whoa, man!" Like so it's just a mirror, and if we're here for like deeper, rapid expansion, this work assists us in our expansion and up leveling as well, which is really cool. So you girls
Definitely.
probably have something like that going on too.
Thank
It sounds
you.
like. Yeah. Thanks for sharing. And so nice to see you again. It's been so long. I love it.
You too, Jamie.
Yeah, always a pleasure. All right, I'm just looking in the chat. Do you find you have an easier time with certain animals versus others? Well, easy wouldn't be the word. They're all the same of like I can connect in. Some animals are quieter than others. Some animals give more information quickly. Some animals open up to you more quickly. What I do find is animals that are in pain or distress or that don't feel awesome usually aren't as vocal as animals who feel great. There was a pet, a dog that was lost in our neighborhood. This was a few years ago, and it was running at the speed of light, but it had a leash on it because it was just scared. So it was running and running, and um, its paws were bloody. Anyway, I'm like, took this thing home because the shelters were closed at night, and there was literally nowhere you could. I'm thinking this is weird. There's nowhere we can take this guy, so we took him here. But he was so scared, so we had to keep him separate from Hobbs. Um, oh yes, so I'm thinking, well, you're an animal communicator, like connect in with him, talk to him, see what he needs. And he was in such fight or flight and panic. There was no like seeing what was going on with him. He just was present. He didn't want to connect. He didn't want to talk. So I just nurtured him as a human and took care of him. But that's not common. Um, but just like us, when we like really don't feel good, we're probably just like, oh, don't want to say too much. Um, that being said, there are so many times I work a lot with animals who are about to cross over, who have passed over, animals who are sick, who are healing. And I work with like a team of light as well. I work with guides, I work with source. So, for example, like that little guy who I was working with last week probably didn't know he needed to be complex, but my guides or his guides did. So because I'm well versed in my Claire, um, knew that that was what could help him. So that's also something we go into. Like, yes, you're connecting in with them, but then you can also call in assistance when they're in distress as well. Do you ask direct questions to animals, and how do you interpret physical cues and sounds? I do ask direct questions. Uh, the more direct, the better. And as I'm asking the question, like for example, and this is nuanced. There's many ways you can do this, okay? But if you want to ask the animal, and in class, we literally go through an entire practice, and as a group, you go through all these questions with one dog, which is going to be Hobbs. It's fascinating. You'll see that everybody gets a similar answer, and you're like, whoa. And you may be picking up on it in a nuanced way, but it's pretty profound. So like if we were asking Hobbs, what's your favorite food? You could literally imagine putting a bowl in front of him that has nothing in it, and you've got joy in your heart. So you're holding joy and you're like, show me, what's your favorite food? So I would say that out loud to him, and in my mind, I would put an empty bowl and I'd be like, oh, interesting. Beef is, I'm seeing now what's in the bowl: beef, salmon, the bones he likes, whatever it may be, right? Um, and then that's the thing. This is just practice. Calling friends and being like, "Oh, I saw an image of beef. Oh, I smelled beef. Um, oh, I felt like amped and excited when I got an image of beef." Sorry if you are, there's no, yeah, no, it's totally fine. Sorry if you already went over this, but is it possible to communicate something to an animal instead of just getting information from them? 100%. I call it psychic emailing. My pug gets scared easily and is pretty nervous, anxious dog in general, and I always want to try to communicate that she is safe, but feel like I don't get that through to her, if that makes sense. Totally. So there was a story of a woman in one of my trainings who had a chihuahua who had really bad separation anxiety. And again, maybe sometimes there's a physical thing you need to do. We might get the image of, oh, it do these things psychically, and then a trainer would help with this one little thing, might be like a combo platter. But for her, it was 10 days it took, and she would sit with her chihuahua and psychically email, literally, like you're creating a video in your mind of really bad separation anxiety. So she would show mom's leaving. So she would show her leaving the door. And while you're home, she would show the dog relaxed. You got food there, you got toys there. Mom's leaving you with CBD, the TV's on, whatever. Okay. Gave about the time. I'm gone 8 hours. Just feeling into the energy of it, seeing the whole thing. And then look at that. At 5 o'clock, mom walks in the door. And I don't know, at 2 o'clock, Sandy comes and walks you. And so I'm going to show you your walk. And then you come back in the house. 10 days. And the dog did not have separation anxiety anymore. Completely went away. Like the dog was incessantly barking. Even I was like, whoa, that's amazing. Because she was consistent with it. A lot of times, and I find this, like if a pet has a pet brother or sister and they pass, a lot of times they're just confused, and you need to sit with them and say, hey, this animal passed, kind of show them what your perception of heaven is or fifth dimension. They're not in physical anymore, they're in non-physical. You can still connect in non-physical. And again, I'm saying the words, but I would maybe be showing little, like you're dreaming, like making up a little imaginary movie in your mind, intending to project it in their direction, right? So I'm doing that all the time, showing them like how we manifest to, showing them the desired reality in our mind, you know? Yeah, it is totally amazing.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense because I've tried to do like what trainers tell me to do, where if someone's walking by while we're out on the grass, she gets like a little bit freaked out, and I try and put my back to them to make sure she sees that I'm not worried about them, because if I were facing them, I'd be more on guard, and like none of that seems to work. So I'm always trying
Yeah.
to figure out how I can communicate to her that she's okay and safe. She's just like pretty anxious.
Yeah. That could be something we could tune into.
Okay.
Um, uh, but also I'd be curious if you sit with her before you go out and just
Mhm.
show her a safe walk playing out. Mom's
Mhm.
got you. If something nearby is scary, I pick you up. I hold
Yeah.
you. You're protected here. A feeling of a peaceful day encompassing her. Just kind of
Yeah.
show her what a normal walk would be. And if there was danger, mom would walk in front,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, just like really spell it out for her in that
yeah,
way. Okay,
yeah.
cool.
Try
Cool.
it. Try
That's
it
really cool. I didn't know
consistently.
you can communicate back to them. I just thought you're getting downloads from them. That's cool.
Yeah, both. Yep. Yep. Good question. Yep. So I'm going to answer a couple more of these and then I'm going to tell you guys about the training, which I'm very excited about. So, do you find it different to communicate with animals in spirit than those with us? It's the same exact thing. It's the same exact thing. The only difference is that, and this is all you can do, there's a variation. You can do it with the animal in person. You can do it as I did Henry from a distance because we're all a blanket. Or when you do an animal that's passed, you bring in a golden ball of light. It's kind of like a placeholder for their spirit and invite them into it momentarily. You want to, we'll go deeper into this, but you want to ground it into the earth to give the spirit just a place in the quantum field to be with you for a minute. And you say, hey, will you just come into this space? Because they don't have a body in the moment. And then we do the reading that way. So same principles, it would just be that adjustment. And then we assist them and let them go back home to where they were. We often I can't say that word, anthropomorphize animals' feelings, jealousy, spitefulness like humans feel. How do we better understand an animal's experience without projecting our human feelings, insecurities, and experiences? That is a deep, great question, girl. Or are they experiencing things the same way as us? I mean, just from my experience, humans are obviously more complex. They're a lot more present. Their answers are simple. Um, yeah, there, and we can go into this deeper too. But just for now, we are more complex. They are simple. That's what that's what I'll say about that. Yeah, I think it's similar, but not always the same. Not always the same. Awesome. And then, Jake, as I'm explaining this, are you able, for those people that aren't, oh, you already put it there. Beautiful. Oh, wait, no, the link to the on-demand animal communication training for anybody who can't make it to LA for this would be awesome. And Jake, correct me if I'm wrong. I thought that the code was animal love, not animal lover, with no space, but I may not be right, but I'll put that in there. If you guys, if you try animal lover and it doesn't work, try animal love. So thank you guys for spending a little bit of time with me and playing with something that I'm clearly passionate about, and has a potentiality to heal us, to expand us into who we came here to be, and really give us these soulmate connections with our animals. So I've been teaching in-person animal communication trainings for a long time. And because I was doing that, I thought, why don't I record everything I've been teaching, put it in an online program on demand? Because I'm so blessed at doing lots of things in my life, I haven't taught an in-person one in a really long time, because anybody that asked me about it, I was like, hey, here's one that's on the computer. So, oh, it is animal love. Okay, perfect. I was reading the period at the end. Okay, period. So if you want to come in for the day, for the training into Los Angeles, March 24th, I would love to have you. It's going to be an all day, 10:30 to 3, snacks, tea, Bloom Loft. It's a really cute yoga studio in Toluca Lake. We're going to literally go through everything. Tons of practice, tons of opportunity for you to bring pictures of your animals, to learn, to have partners to get messy with and sloppy with. I'm literally in this training I put together. It's everything that I learned and everything that I know. So if you want to learn from somebody who's been professionally doing this for a long time, I would love to have you. And so because you joined here, we have 10% off with the animal love code. Okay. If that's helpful for you. What else? What else? Oh, let me copy and paste this for you, because this might be easier. If you're interested, and after having this conversation as well, you're like, I would love to go deeper and do a one-on-one reading with me, my website, jamiewozny.com/animals, you can sign up and do an actual one-on-one reading with me as well. And maybe you want to try a one-on-one reading and then also learn. So there's 3 options for you. Before we click off, I invite you guys to click on the link for the in-person one. And then let me get you this link for the on-demand before we go, because I want you to have it. Animal communication, open. Here we go, on demand. And I'm not sure if any of you have this question. The on demand is everything I teach in person. You just, don't have the live component, but we do have a Facebook group. So if questions do come up, or you want to be part of like a community of like-minded people and find practice buddies there, you can ask me a question that way, so you don't not have access to me. So it's the same thing. But in person, people are going to be asking questions in real time and all of that kind of stuff. So I'm going to give you all a second to click on the link so that you have them saved. And I think the den will probably send a follow-up email tomorrow so that you guys can have them all in one place. But thank you guys for joining me, and reach out if I can support you. And I'm sending you guys lots of love, and I hope I see you at one of these play shops. Take care, everybody.
Hi,
Yeah.
Jamie. It was so good
Bye,
seeing
guys.
you.
Yeah, good to see you guys too. See you later.
Hi, everyone.
Bye, sweeties. See you.